president of USA Gymnastics, who Evan Heider aptly said on Twitter was wearing the carcass of Carrie Perry during the award ceremony.
She had the U.S. flag scarf.
Remember, this show is PG-13, so you might hear a naughty word or two.
Tumble Track is having a summer blowout sale, 5% off carpet bonded foam, so you can replace that if anyone walked on it in high heels, and up to 15% off items in their summer blowout sale. Check it out on their sale tab on their website. That's Tumble Track, TUMBLTRAK, Tumble Track. Train smart. Welcome to the Norberts.net 2023 U.S. Championships recap. Has NBC's broadcast wildly improved? A men's judge was removed during the men's competition. Simone Biles won her 8th unprecedented all-around U.S. titles. Who made the men's world team? Who proved their case for the women's world team? And Tom Farden is under investigation by the University of Utah. It's the 29th of August, 2023, and welcome to the number one gymnastics podcast in the galaxy. I'm Jessica. I'm here with Spencer from the Balance Beam Situation. And thank you to everyone who came to our live show. It was so fun. The improv was amazing. And thank you to everybody who got virtual tickets that you can still watch the replay. If you need any help with that, email customer service at gymcastic.com, and you can still purchase a virtual ticket. So if you still want to watch and hear those stories that Amy told that she has never told publicly before, yes, you can still do that right now, gymcastic.com. Okay. FYI, this is Spencer.
Ready.
I don't know if you know.
Give me my information.
This is our 5th episode on U.S. Championships. We did the preview, podium training, day 1, day 2, and today we're doing the debrief. So club members can listen to the whole thing. Headlines are for everybody, those behind the scenes episodes, but we talk about all of everything, go through gymnast by gymnast, really in detailed on those during the meet episodes that we did. So you guys can check those out, including juniors and men's we cover. So we also have a U.S. Championships headquarters page where you can find everything. Every video, every podcast, all of the photo galleries from our fantastic fact checker, who also, by the way, is an amazing photographer because journalism school teaches you that 20 years ago. Okay, so biggest headlines, U.S. Nationals. Let's go.
Biggest headline is Simone, not starting with subtlety. She won her 8th national championship. Fantastic performance overall. Only the very most minor deductions across 2 days of competition. And I feel like she added multiple routines to the Simone career highlight reel, which is tough to do at this point. Like, it's a pretty packed highlight reel, but I'm like, vault day 1, best, is now her Yurchenko double pike highlight. Floor day 2 was one of the best floors we've ever seen from her, and what a, triumphant way to cap off the competition. I'm always like, Simone ended on floor, and I was like, oh, isn't that convenient? Look how it happened. Look how it worked out. Because I assume it's a random draw for the events, but I'm always like, look at Simone's ending the meet on floor, which was a great moment. She didn't end the meet, but it was her last event.
Yeah.
Also, her highest floor score since the 2016 quad, which is back when there was an extra 5/10 of composition requirements, and you could still get a 9E score on floor, which is not a thing anymore. But really, yeah, one of her best floors I've ever seen from her on that second day. That was really the exclamation point on the competition.
I agree. Competing her Yurchenko double pike again was, I think,
on day 1, yeah.
On day 1 was one of the most exciting things. She had stung her ankle a little bit, so she taped it up and just did the chung on the second day. And shout out to Sam Peshek.
Threw in just a chung.
Just a chung, Shout out to Sam Peshek for pronouncing chung correctly. This is my favorite thing ever, when people know how to pronounce chung.
Amazing what happens when a broadcaster does research.
Yeah, it's great. So I was really happy to see her make the choice to do something safe. She doesn't need to be another vault champion. It's fine. Give someone else a turn. What's she doing
with that medal? Yeah.
But yeah, she's going to put it in her salad bowl and be like, oh, here we go. So I think what's interesting, though, is we have to kind of, we have the gymternet keeps a track of all the rankings for all the top scores. And Simone has the highest ranking right now, even with the bonus. I'm calling it a bonus. It's not a bonus. It is a unconfirmed, non-official start value for her Yurchenko double pike, which happened because of a negotiation between the top brevets at USA Gymnastics reaching out to FIG and being like, so how about we suggest a 6.0 start value for Yurchenko double tuck and a 6.4-ish for Yurchenko double pike. What do you guys think about that? Can we provisionally try that out at our championships? Would you take that suggestion on for official when she does it at Worlds, if she goes to Worlds? So technically, there might, like, her all-around score might not be the same when we get to Worlds if the FIG doesn't do that. So I'm putting a little asterisk, but I'm also preparing for Valentina to give Listinova at their championships like a 62 all-around score so that Russia can be ahead of whatever Simone gets. Sound realistic?
Always possible.
Okay.
Yeah, all of that sounds very realistic. Yeah.
So did Simone say that she was going to come back after Paris?
No.
A lot of gymnastic breaks in comeback. Some gymnastic breaks that turn into retirement.
Yeah.
What brings you back? What is bringing you back?
Yeah, I ask myself that every day. I still feel like I have some personal goals. I still feel like I'm capable of doing it, and I've kind of proved to myself that I can still go out there and compete to the same level as before. So as long as, no, I wouldn't say as long as I keep doing that, I'll be out here, because absolutely not. But I'm gonna give it one more go, and then we'll see.
So I support this. Also, though, I feel like because she has a diamond in her tooth now, like that screams like it needs to be seen at as many Olympics as possible. So yeah, I also love that, she put that
not reading too much into anything, or
obviously I'm not saying it doesn't. The diamond, it's just one diamond. It doesn't spell out and more Olympics.
It doesn't spell out more Olympics.
Yeah. Let's talk about the two amazing standout hit machines. You can put me up anytime. I will hit my routine. You're welcome for my excellent execution scores and my consistency. You're welcome, Shilese Jones and Leanne Wong. That's their middle names now. Shilese, you're welcome, Leanne Jones Wong. That's how you say it now.
Now they're the same person?
Yeah, no, they're the same.
What beautiful gymnastics that would be.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
They should do a tour with themselves where they just do synchronized gymnastics. Like the Shilese and Leanne show, where they're just like on a giant beam at the same time, or doing like bars swinging back to back. Oh, perfect. I
agree, I'd watch that.
So they both recorded quad best, try best, because this Olympic cycle is only 3 years, all-around performances to finish second and third in the final standings. Career best all-around score on day 2 for Shilese Jones, who came in dispelling all questions, all doubts. She was just like, my routines are ready. I didn't compete at Classic because I didn't have to, and I wasn't quite ready yet. And the reason I did that was so I could be ready for championships, and I was, and I hit 8 for 8. And the most assured I think we've seen from her. Worlds last year was also very comfortable, but I think this was even more so in terms of there weren't even, again, didn't even really throw in mistakes. Day 1 beam a little shaky, but comfortably stayed on, which hasn't always been the most comfortable event for her and the most comfortable hit. So, very, very strong.
Yeah. Second here, second at Worlds last year, and bars she proved...
silver's her color.
It is.
She's
And nothing, this is the thing, is she maintained her labrum. She didn't maintain her labrum, actually, which is the only drawback.
That would be, talk about what a headline would be. Gymnast maintains labrum. That should be like A1. That would be A1 news of a gymnast maintaining their labrum.
Anyone who does bars or men's gymnastics who still has a labrum is like
Whoa.
a total anomaly. But yeah, she maintained her level and she proved like, I know what I'm doing. I don't need to compete the whole time to come back and be at the same level I was last year. So she's competing with a torn labrum in her shoulder, not her hip. And like, I just want to say, like, this isn't super uncommon for people to compete with a labrum tear. It depends on if it's something that really bothers them. Some people, they can't function because it hurts so bad. Some people, they're like, it doesn't really bother me, and it depends on how it affects your gymnastics. So it's not crazy that she's, you know, competing with this. Lots of gymnasts have and are, they just don't tell you. And so yeah, I think that she showed it's not affecting her gymnastics, so I'm not worried about that at all. Leanne Wong, a dream. She is just a dream. She's like an ethereal, like, little light doing her beautiful gymnastics, making all her boutique cash. I just think there's so much to be learned from these two about sticking around and running your own show, is what I would say. It works for them. It's so well done. What do you think about her performance in general?
I think the thing that that struck me the most was the transformation we've seen across her career. She has always had beautiful form. Like from day one, we were like, who is this winner? Who is like rising to the top of our, obsession charts because she has wonderful execution. But from like up through maybe Olympic trials, and that day one beam routine where we all like collapsed and canceled the competition, she was the one with the fantastic form, but who was going to break your heart on beam. Since the Olympics, she has become the one, or since the Olympic process, she has become the one you trust to hit. But we haven't gotten to see that much in elite because she had a great performance at Worlds in 2021, all around silver. She was injured so much of the elite season last year, even though she made the Worlds team and even though she was coming back and vaulting. We didn't see full Leanne, I don't think, at all in elite in 2022. So we're still really getting to sit with her second era of elite, her second quad, where she is just the calm presence of the competition, which is, I think, what you get from Leanne. Like, she's not going to be Jordan Childs. Like, that's not her personality. She's not going to be up there. They're very, both wonderful.
Very different people. Yeah.
Very different moods. And I should say on the competition floor moods. I don't know about what your personality is like off the competition floor. I don't know you. But your competition personality is very just sedate, serene, and now I'm going to hit these routines and they're going to be beautiful every single time. And she went, 12 for 12. Classic championships, day one, championships, day two, boom.
Yep. I think what the theme amongst all of the college age or adult, gymnasts that we saw here was pacing, being efficient, working smarter, not harder. They all talked about this in their interviews, and it showed. They are taking control of their gymnastics, and especially Leanne Wong showing that. And she did say that she stayed at Florida because she couldn't achieve her gymnastics and school goals if she was gone for the summer. She needed to take summer school classes. But I think this is clearly a really smart decision for her and the right way to go. Simone also talked about being able to train smarter and how she can, like, it motivates her to be like, oh, I can get off of bars in 20 minutes. I don't have to stay here for an hour, which is really
the most important thing.
How fast can I get out of here? Okay, let me go live my life. I love that.
Club Gym Nerd, you get discounts and first dibs on live show tickets, an extra whole podcast every week, athlete dossiers for major competitions, code guides, options to commission your own segments. It also makes a great gift. Check it out at gymcastic.com at the Join the Club tab. Okay,
what did we learn about adult gymnastics being the greatest thing ever?
I know, it's almost like I did some numbers looking, and you guys, I wanted to hesitate. When I tell you I hesitated because I didn't even want Jessica to know this information because she's never going to stop talking about it. But the women's all-around podium at nationals was older than the men's all-around podium. at the same competition.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of significantly. Like Asher Hong and Fred Richard are the youngest all-around medal winners, and then Leanne Wong is not even a year older or younger than Koi Young. But otherwise, it is the women are the adults in the room, which has always been the case emotionally.
I mean, yeah.
But it's always been the case mentally. But it is. But what do you take from that? What are your impressions?
I mean, I think part of it is that a lot of gymnasts don't have the opportunity or didn't in the past. I mean, we've definitely had college gymnasts compete before. This isn't the only time, I've listed them a million times on the show to prove my point, right? In many different countries, not just the United States, right? Going all the way back to the Shannon Miller days. But to be a competing gymnast in college and be able to not have the decision between going pro and doing gymnastics, I think that has made a gigantic difference. And the fact that just the training is much better, the system is much better. There's no one at the top at USA Gymnastics who's trying to smash rules into the college gymnast's face so that they can't do both, which was absolutely the way that it was in the past. It was like, oh, you've done college, that's great because you are really consistent, but you better show up every month or we're never going to invite you to a camp again and we're going to blacklist you. Like that absolutely happened. So it is a change in the leadership and the opportunities that have made this possible. And it's one of the very good things that has changed about USA Gymnastics. There are some things that make me want to punch a wall, but there are things like this that are better. Speaking of which...
Was that your transition into the things that make you want to punch a wall? I got it, and I loved it.
Thank you. So Li Young, president of USA Gymnastics, who Evan Heider aptly said on Twitter was wearing the carcass of Carrie Perry during the awards ceremony.
When she had the U.S. flag scarf. We all thought it when she had that scarf on. We were like, uh-oh. We've been burned by scarf before.
Tweet of the year. Anyway, the full press conference is on YouTube with Simone and Laurent and Lily. So I wanted to talk about my thoughts on this because it is really important and very upsetting. USA Gymnastics wants to build a training center that they are calling a training and wellness center, and it will be for all sports. So it's not going to be at the USOPC training center like they have in Colorado Springs or San Diego. It is going to be rhythmic, artistic, trampoline. Everybody is in one spot and trains together. I asked, well, is abortion healthcare something that will be taken into account? And they said that is on their list of things to consider when choosing a state to have their training center in. But to consider. So my question is, if athletes and staff can literally die from being denied healthcare in a state where the training center is, what is a non-negotiable? If death isn't a non-negotiable for choosing a state, what is? That should be the top of your list. Also, I just feel like, change happens through financial pressure. Why would you give your business to states who want to put us back 50 years? Money matters. It makes a difference. It is your vote for legislation. Put pressure on what you want to see by saying, yeah, Indiana, if you change this law, we will consider your state. But until you get a new governor or a new legislature, no, we will not consider it. Until you enshrine human rights into your state constitution, we're not doing it. She also said that she apologized to Simone for the U.S. staff member, called Simone a gold medal token. But she also said that Lily said she didn't find out who it was. I don't know who it is. I mean, Spencer, how many times do we hear Tom Forrester say that thing in interviews?
Not those words, but it was
but effectively that sentiment.
I think it was the sentiment of U.S. team selection,
right,
throughout the 2021 Olympic process.
Yeah. So that was kind of disingenuous. I was like, really? It's been 2 weeks and you didn't find out who it was? I mean, we assume that, that person is gone, but that was, a misstep, I thought, on her part. Also, USA Gymnastics didn't give the OC register a credential. Yet Al Fong and Valerie Lukin are on the floor, not listed on any safe sport lists, despite having 30 plus allegations against them, according to the OC Register. So that was another thing that I felt like was a big misstep. Like, you don't fail to give a press credential to one of the, press organizations who's been covering the abuse allegations for the longest amount of time and most consistently. So those are the things that could stand to be improved and maybe want to punch a wall. But do want to
punch a wall?
I didn't, because I would break my hand and I need this for my job. So it's very important.
Okay. Yeah.
I do type things despite just, but I want to know from you. I've gone over the rage headlines. So what are the biggest nerd headlines?
Oh, I thought you would never ask. Okay.
For all the straights for Spencer spreadsheets.
The biggest thing for me, I don't want to say it was surprising, but I think the biggest development or thing that made me change my thinking about women's world team scoring was what happened on floor at this competition. Because heading into this competition, there were a lot of gymnasts who with 14-0 potential on floor. We've seen it from a lot of them, whether it was last year at nationals or throughout this year, we've seen 14s. And I thought there was going to be a kind of a pile up around that marker in the standings where it was like, ooh, there's not going to be that much difference between, the gymnast who's going 14-1 or 13-9 and who's making up the world's team. We ended up having a huge differentiation between the top couple athletes on floor and everyone else, where we saw people who should be floor specialists among their specialist events on a US team, like Jade Carey and like Jocelyn Robertson, going no higher than a 7.45 E-score for either of them on either day on floor, and scoring significantly lower than Kalia Lincoln, who went 14 both days, Shilese Jones, who went 14 both days, Leanne Wong, who went 14 on the second day with that floor routine that's the best she's ever done, and it was fantastic. And so, what looked like equivalent scoring potential is now, sometimes a point difference in execution score. It was like Leanne Wong went 8-4 execution on the second day to the 7-4s we were seeing. And so I think that's going to be extremely significant and was extremely intentional in terms of this. We are going to make sure on floor that we are interpreting the code like they did at the Tokyo Olympics.
Yes. And
that is it's a frustration, I know, among judges, where they feel like we don't know how Worlds or Olympics is going to be judged from year to year, which I understand, because you look at, we've talked about 2017 Worlds, we talk about all the time because it was a really harshly judged Worlds. 2019 Worlds, way looser than the 2021 Olympics.
Same code.
So, same code, same judges. So you can't necessarily say follow the code of what's going to be the scoring at international meets, because it is very variable. But I think what's smart is, and what they need to do at a domestic competition, is take whatever was the harshest, which was the Olympics, and do that so that you're prepared for that. And then if it turns out you go to Worlds and scoring is looser, well, win-win. You just score higher than you were expecting to, and that's great. But you want to be prepared for harsh scoring of artistry, of form, of legs, feet, split positions, credit for dance elements. You want to be as harsh as possible on those so that you're prepared for it. And I think they were discernibly much harsher on floor than they have been in past competitions, specifically for athletes who are missing positions. Not for everyone, but you see the theme in who got the harsh floor scoring. And it's not just because we don't like you. It's because you're not meeting the artistry requirements. You're not meeting split position requirements or extended leg requirements. And so that was a definite difference that I haven't seen at previous nationals.
And I feel like, they've been leaning towards changing this, for a long time. And when we watched the juniors, I was like, oh, the juniors got the memo. They've been trained. They are been brought up to fix these issues. But I feel like there are, the Jade Carey is from the generation of just D score. go hard on D. And even though she's worked so hard on artistry and elongation and releve and all that stuff, it's just she's not anywhere near the level that she needs to be fixing that. So I feel like now finally the E score relevance is weighted higher as it always should have been. Like before, D score could really outweigh you, even though Simone always, also always wins E score, highest E score too. But now the two are level. It's neutralizing that D score dominance on the E score, and I'm really happy about that because you know how I feel.
At least on floor.
Right, on floor.
At this meet.
Right. Vault is another whole thing we can get to, but on floor. Also, I wanted to note that here the judges were not in FIG position. So at Classic they were, and FIG position means they are level with the podium or higher. Here they were regular meet style, which means that they were on the floor looking up into the lights at the apparatus. And I'm not saying that necessarily had a huge effect, but it's not how it will be at the World Championships, and that's effectively what judging you want to plan for. Yeah.
What was your biggest like nerd headline or other thing that was a big deal for you?
I think like 7 gymnasts did 2 vaults on day 1. And that is, how long I've been talking about.
Yeah.
How are you incentivizing this? It's so easy. Just do another vault. You can win a medal so easy. You can be a national champion they have been incentivizing this, and they've incentivized the juniors, and they've tried to incentivize it's finally broken through. Like, just learn something. Just do something for a second vault. And no one's doing like super easy things either, but they have second vaults, and it's finally happened. Like, do you remember wasn't there a year that only like 2 people did second vaults? Or one
there've been
person?
plenty years where there's only one.
Right. And I was like, you guys, it's like, how many extra medals do you want for your salad bowl? As many as you can. At Worlds, like you can so easily get into finals.
There were definitely times where there was either Simone was alone on that medal stand, and like the vault medalist from nationals, there's one of you, or Skinner or Carey or someone. A lot of times was the only one. I'm sure Sacrimony, there were times where Sacrimony was the only one.
Yeah, probably. So I'm very happy about this because it was, it's what I've been waiting for. Also because individual apparatus are more exciting than all around. So I want to watch all the crazy vaults. And I want them to be safe. I don't want to even try to whip something out of their back pocket at the last second, like they used to do at NCAAs and when they had event finals, and you'd watch people crash everywhere and be like, they're not going to live.
Now I have 2 vaults. Yeah, it was a vault news weekend because we're going to mostly focus on U.S. nationals. But did you see the British trials vault?
Yes!
Where they were suddenly like the United Kingdom of Amanars.
Yes! I'm so excited about this. Yeah, we can get into that more later, but I am like, yes,
I'm equally excited and nervous. I'm like, are you going to hit this?
And we know
Kinsella and Evans with Amanars, and then Jessica Gadarova did a chung. So they're like, we've noticed that vault is a place where your D score helps you because everyone gets almost the exact same E score. So,
right.
Upgrade.
And also, we know there's U.S. gymnasts here that have Amanars. They just haven't done them. I mean, like, Jordan has an Amanar that she can do. Shilese has an Amanar she can do. Simone has a Yurchenko triple that she can do if she wants to. But, like, I don't think she's done that in a long time. But
I feel like,
she has an Amanar. But, it's possible. Is it going to be worth it? Should anyone risk that? Like, who knows? But when you can do a beautiful chung, I don't think we'll definitely see those. But it's not out of the question. And we love an Amanar.
We do. So for someone like Shilese Jones, it's like if she got 9.35 and 9.4 were her Yurchenko double full E score. So that's when you're saying, like, if you're not going to be higher than 9 on E score, it's not worth it. Like, if you're risking a short landing and a step back, like if that's a frequent possibility for you, then an Amanar is not going to be worth it.
Yeah. Versus
a Yurchenko double full. But if you're not, it's still advisable because E scores on vault are too crunched together and they're all the same.
Yeah. Not to mention Andrade didn't do vault at Brazilian Nationals, so
yeah, she vaulted. She didn't do floor.
Oh, didn't do floor. Sorry.
And she
vaulted, but
did.
didn't-
What I saw was a Yurchenko double full, so it wasn't
Okay,
like everything she can vault, but it was like the most perfect Yurchenko double full. It was like, I know you have more difficult vaults, but also this is wonderful, and you should just be wonderful all the time and do this Yurchenko double full because I love it.
Floor is the event she always takes off when she takes an event
Yeah.
off. Yes. So sorry. Thank you for
Smart.
correcting me. All right. So like national championships are nice and everything, but elite is about worlds and Olympics. So
Right.
everyone has different goals, but
Yes.
this level is how you get there. So who is more likely to be on the world team now than you thought before nationals?
Yeah, we are working with more likely because that wasn't the selection competition. And no one's clear on how much nationals gets taken into account. That's not written in anywhere in a selection procedure. Like, oh, it'll be 20% of blah, blah, blah. No. So, anyway, but more likely, I think Leanne Wong is the first person who has moved up my estimation in terms of the team. She would not have been on the highest scoring team from nationals, but I would expect if this had been the selection competition that she would be on the world's team with this third place all around performance. And generally how the US women have been selecting teams, I think that would be on that team and could, go up on any event at any time. And you would be very happy to have that routine at Worlds. And she has continued to improve, like from classics was a step, and then there were some things, especially on beam, her dismount looked a lot stronger at nationals. She added connection bonus to really up her difficulty. I thought it was a very good example of increasing your difficulty score doesn't have to mean upgrading acro. It was like connection bonus,
right?
Series bonus, all of that significantly upped her D score. So that I think that was also very important.
And that's one of those things about being a grown-up. Like she said, it's a team effort, my routine construction between me and my coaches at Florida. So I think it's like meeting of the minds, doing it the smart way. She also hit 12 for 12 between championships and classic. So if you want someone who you can count on is going to hit, Leanne Wong is your person. Also, her floor on day 2 was a singular moment. It was an experience. It was special in a way that I think would translate very well at Worlds to make the artistry checklist fly past with flying colors.
It just she just moves by the judges table and the artistry checklist just like fly away.
No, it instantly burns and
poofs. It instantly burned.
Yeah, it just poofs. It's like, oh, the light has shone through this piece of paper and set it on fire. We don't need it anymore, Leanne Wong. Yeah, that's what I would say. Kalia Lincoln is another one that we've
definitely more likely. Yeah,
so much more likely because she did not hit her bars on day 2. She only got like a 9.9 or something on bars, which is going to be a great score in college when she goes there. But yeah, it doesn't really matter because you're not going to necessarily use her on bars. But her execution is so good that it doesn't, and she has great difficulty too. She added a full twisting double layout here, but her tumbling execution is so freaking good, and her landings are so good, and her splits are so split, and her rings are so ringy. My God. So even though she didn't finish in the top, what did she finish? She is somewhere down in the on 13th. The fine. She's 13th. It doesn't matter.
She's going to be top 6, and then that bars routine,
and then bars,
but like
stupid bars. And I feel like it was good, though, that she made the mistake that she did, because you want to have these opportunities at this level to be like, oh, I shouldn't have tried to repeat that. I should just stop, get off the bar, re-chalk, do what I need to do, and do the routine as I can do it and finish it. Like, she just tried to, like, fix all her mistakes and do over. And that didn't work for her in this case. But that's a good experience.
It was also a lot in the neutral deduction category.
Oh yeah, she used an extra mat. Yeah, she used an extra mat. Just like, Laurent standing in on vault and getting a deduction, she used a mat that you're not allowed to use, so she got a deduction for that. But she's on the highest scoring team.
Oh yeah, for floor. Because of what I was saying about, like, she was fantastic on floor on day 1, excellent on day 2, but the landings weren't as strong, and she still was over 8 in execution, because you watch her double-double, and then you watch other people who are hitting double-doubles, and you say, easy 7/10 of difference in scores just on the execution of that element alone.
Yep.
Between landing and knees and feet and body position and all of that, you can find, quite a bit.
Which is why I call her the second coming of Gabby Douglas for a reason. Because they have very similar strengths. Except Khalil Lincoln's tumbling is like, it's astronaut level. NASA's recruiting her after that floor. Also, she got one of the introductions, was pretty sure she was spotted on her bar routine too. Okay, who's less likely to be on the world team?
Just by spot, you mean touched by the coach.
Right. No one threw her up on the bar, or you can't. That's not the right example, because you can throw someone up on the bar if they fall off.
Threw her onto the bar.
You're like, you fall and they throw you up there. I mean, literally, no one lifted her from your pack and held on to her and held her up. You got it. You got your Van Leeuwen. You're on the bar. I'll let go now. That didn't happen. But touching is spotting. Okay, who's less likely to be on the team? World team now, if it was chosen from championships, because you have to remember there's still 3 weeks until they go to camp, and they go to their verification camp, which is really a world team trials, which is what it's to be called, because that's way more exciting than verification camp. Blech. Marketing, USA Gymnastics.
They don't officially call it verification camp anymore.
What's it called now?
It's like the team selection competition or something. Team selection event.
Anything with selection is dumb. Get rid of it. Just get rid of that title. Just world team trials, because that's what it is, and call it that. Just because there is a committee that selects, don't mention them. It makes it worse. Anywho,
don't mention that.
3 weeks.
You could write a mathematical system to pick the team, and then there would be no selection. Just putting that out there. You can make it so that there's no selection. I would say, in terms of less likely, Jade Carey is someone who did not have a strong nationals, except for the vault on day 2, which I thought was definitely the highlight of her competition. That was really strong, and that was one of those moments where, as you were alluding to, you're like, 3 more weeks, huh? 3 more weeks of training? We'll see where we are here. But I kind of was defaulting toward Jade Carey for my world's team before nationals, because it's Jade. Yeah. And because we've seen her hit exactly what she would need to do to be on the world's team so many times. But she was way less consistent at this competition than she has been before. And her floor scores, even when she hit, were not that high. And I think that was significant.
Yep. And we talked about Jade's scary but also hilarious fall during podium training when she she did her between bar ganger and then tried to stage dive directly onto the ground in actual diver position. And she jumped up immediately and laughed and ran over to Suni, and Suni's like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" Her dad stayed on the floor much longer, having tried to save her from that. But the thing that we found out is that head first stage dive between the bars wasn't totally without, injury. So she said that on Friday, according to the broadcast and her dad, that she lost feeling in her arm. So, it might just be a stinger and that will clear up, but it's something that affected her, and her dad said was affecting her, especially on bars. So did she not perform the way that she's capable of because she's not there yet and she'll improve in 3 weeks? Or did she not perform the way she's able because of her arm? And, being able to feel your arm and stuff and having strength, it's a little important. But then she, killed it on vault. And arms are, contrary to popular belief, contrary to Skinner and her one-arm vault.
Yeah, Michaela Skinner 2014 is disagree. No. You need one.
Yeah,
max one.
Arms.
You can just do it like floor and do a little brush on the vault and be like, this is vaulting, right?
But if the world team was chosen here, like it was for the men, she's not, you don't take her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would also regrettably put Suni in that category because we didn't see competition bars. And we're going to have to see solid difficulty competition bars at the selection event for her to be on the world's team, even though she hit a great beam on day 2.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I feel like, okay, first of all, shout out to Suni because somehow magically she's competing here. So that's incredible. Also, not only is she competing, broke the white Leo curse. She should have gotten an award.
Apparently the first time that anyone has ever hit while wearing a white Leo. That will definitely stand up to scrutiny.
USAG apparently doesn't have a salad bowl for this. So like, I think we need to create like a little white Leo in a salad bowl that we send to gymnasts.
For anyone who hit in a white Leo.
Yeah. Or like, Suni, you're amazing. Here is your white Leo. Curse broken. It should have like a magic wand with it or something. If anyone wants to design that for us, let us know. We'll make it happen. So, I mean, just looking at her beam, I mean, she placed 3rd overall on beam with a 13.65 and then a 14.2, despite the second day where the beam tried to shake her off and somehow magically on a back handspring, she stayed on despite, you know.
A very weird.
Yes, there was some kind of earthquake under the beam, but she stayed on. So, but I think like the thing is like a 14.2. I mean, if you look at the other beam scores, like when you look at people who are ranking in the all around, like, you know, Simone got a 14.8 on day 2. Shilese has a 14.3. Leanne Wong, 14.75 was her highest. Sky 13.
14.75 in your heart.
In my heart,
Jessica's heart feelings said 14.75.
Sky 14.2 was her highest, and Jordan a 13, and you know Caitlin Jong is down with a 12. But it's Joss Roberson also in the 13s. Sumana Sacra 13.8. So I don't know if you're gonna take someone who can't do all around, but is her beam spectacular? Yes. Are you gonna? You can use her on vault because she gets almost a perfect score on a Yurchenko full. But is it going to be enough? I mean, she has another 3 weeks. And also, she was doing a full twisting release in training, FYI. Yes. So that's super exciting. So what if, the scenario is, what if she shows up in 3 weeks and is like, I can do all around, or I can do 3 events now. And by the way, I could make finals or potentially win a medal on beam and bars. Then what do you do?
If bars is there, I think if her bars difficulty is she's going 14.5 or higher on bars, then yes.
Right.
But it's all about bars. And does she have a full routine together that she can hit on both days, even though I'm still question how much the day 2 is always taken into account when they do 2 events. I'm like, how is this figured in? I have issues, but I think if she does it both days, then it blows up all your team permutations, which is very exciting.
Yes.
We'll be right back after this.
I want to mention that on Friday, we have our regular behind the scenes. Normally we take a week off after championships, but we're going to do behind the scenes because we have so many new members, and also behind the scenes is super fun for us on Fridays because we don't have to do anything but show up. Also, Amy Borman is going to try to answer questions that we didn't get to at the live show. So we're going to try to get those to you. Also, she's in the middle of a hurricane because hurricanes are everywhere now. You can't avoid them. So depending on how, things go in Florida, she is going to try to answer those questions and get them for you guys on Friday for behind the scenes. Also, we will tell you who Spencer didn't recognize, and so immediately had his gym nerd card revoked. It was so embarrassing, you guys. You think I'm embarrassing? Oh, Spencer, I'll never look at him the same.
It was so ashamed.
I had to literally walk away in that moment. Yeah. I also wondered, Spencer, do you want a company who can customize your gymnastic stuff?
Yes.
Has it always been one of your dreams to have spotting blocks where the foam won't break down with a lifetime guarantee? Also, Spencer, I know that you have wanted like a dragon-shaped mat with every color in the rainbow on it. I know you told
Mhm.
me about that once. You
Yeah.
wanted to keep it secret, but now I put you on blast. Everybody knows.
Mhm.
Norbert's can add your logo and make sure your gym stands out on your mats. And do you have like a weird spot in your gym that needs to be filled with a mat that looks like a curious owl poking out of a tree? Have you thought about that, Spencer? It could be adorable.
Not
if you
until
had
this moment.
the side of your pit. Norbert's crack team of super sewers and their customer service experts can work with you to make this happen. You can customize your gym equipment, and it's way more reasonable than you might expect.
From preschool to rec to elite gymnastics, Norbert's has what you need. Norbert's mats are manufactured in the USA at their facility located in sunny Southern California. It's the extra steps, like quoting with 3 different shipping carriers, to get you the best rate that shows they really care. You can view and order over 1,600 products on their website, give them a call, or send them an email to place an order. If you are buying from Norbert's because you heard your ad here on this very show, please let them know, because we so appreciate their sponsorship of this program, and it's important to let them know that this is where you heard about them.
Check them out at norberts.net. Thanks, Norberts. Okay, other people we need to discuss in the world's picture situation. Jordan Childs. She finished 5th?
5th all around.
Yeah.
Yeah. She had a rougher competition.
On day 2.
Yeah.
She had
Fall
2
on
12s
bars,
on day 2.
fall on beam. Came back on floor with a much better floor than we had seen in training or on day 1. She was like, let me end on the high note, but there's no score that Jordan Childs got here that would be on a highest scoring team. And I think that's the concern. Where is the top 3?
Yeah. That's the thing, because the finals are 3 people compete, 3 scores count. You can't get rid of any score. So you want the most consistent high-end scoring 3 is who you want to win. Prelims to qualify is not going to be a problem. Knock on wood, that there's no
Save getting a
food
0.
poisoning or whatever. But yeah, Jordan, one of the things that she said and Laurent said in the press conference is, I asked him, like, is this just preparation time or was it nerves? What happened on day 2? And he's like, yeah, she just hasn't had enough time to train. She took 2 months off after NCAA season and she's only been back in the gym for a couple weeks. So the fact that she competed at Classic with like only a week or 2 under her belt is amazing. So with another 3 weeks, I think she'll be back where she needs to be. So will we see the kind of scores that she had and how she made, for example, a world floor final and almost became the world champion on floor, in 3 weeks. That's really the question. So she could really, she has the ability to move herself way higher with a little more training time.
Yes.
I
feel like that's how it's been. Like, Jordan's schedule has been like, I'm going to go back into the gym after like 1 second and it'll be fine. Like, before the NCAA season, wasn't that the deal? Like, when they had her at Meet the Bruins and it was like, no, literally we don't have a Leo for Jordan because she just got here.
Yep.
So I think that's just her. She's like, this is what I do. This is my schedule. I will show up. It might be a little ragged at first, but
we'll get there. Yeah, it's giving me a little bit of sweats though. I wish she'd given herself a little more time. Yeah, I was I know you're Jordan Childs, but
with Jade Carey in the I'm sweating it.
Yeah,
I'm sweating it category because it's so hard to make this team.
Right,
it's so exciting.
Yeah, it's not like it was in the past. Like, there's so many incredible gymnasts. It's going to be so hard.
Like in the past where there were no incredible gymnasts. It's not like it was in the past. There are good gymnasts now. Not like in 2012 where everyone was terrible.
Also, what did I want to say about Jordan Childs? I can't remember. I thought she was more focused. She just seemed more focused. And I know, she is a person who I feel like dancing and getting the crowd hyped and all of that stuff is the way she deals with her nerves. But just in the, normally she does an interview and you're like, no idea in general what's happening. But this is very focused, very to the point. She was, I think she composed herself in a different way than I've seen before. And yeah, she was just, I think she's like, oh yeah, I have to like get it together right now. I'm qualifying to this world team trial by the hair of my chinny chin chin, as the three little pigs say. Was it them that said that? So yeah, who did say the hair of my chinny chin chin? Yeah, the three little pigs. Let us not forget. She's building her brick house now. So Zoe Miller, question, because her bars are spectacular, but even here, it was Shilese and Sky who had higher scores on bars.
Yeah. That was the thing. So Zoe Miller missed on bars on day 1, which was tough because that's her event. But even when she came back and hit on day 2 with a good routine, but even then it was 14.4, which is the same as Sky Blakely scored, lower than Shilese Jones scored, only a half tenth higher than Simone's day 1. And you don't make worlds as a one event specialist with a half tenth advantage. You're not going to add enough to a highest scoring team. So that's the question for Zoe Miller at this point, which is which is a bummer for me personally, because she's the best one in terms of like quote machine and natural comedic timing among the gymnasts on the team. And that, I feel like that should qualify you to be on every single team. I want her on every single team because I'm like, that is the content I am looking for.
It is.
In the press conference when she was just like, I guess I would do archery because it's stupid, but I'd be really good at it, or whatever she said. I was like, what an answer.
Oh, she is. Oh, I can't wait. Yeah, when you want someone to make the team mostly just for their what they're going to say in the mix zone, it's Zoe Miller. I was disappointed we didn't have any more bets. I thought we could get, we had the twerking bet. I thought we could get something else. But alas, we did not. I was like, they're focusing on gymnastics. Oh, so boring. But yeah, also when you have Shilese getting a 15 and a 14.9 on bars, you gotta really bring it. So I think those are, so we have Jade, Suni, Jordan, and Zoe, who are kind of in the category after this. But again, they have 3 weeks.
Nothing's been decided yet. Yeah. But that's where I see the shifts in status.
Yeah. So let's talk about the competition in a broader sense.
I want to review or go back to some of the questions we had in our Nationals preview and see if we got any answers from them. We've touched on some of this, but I want to go through. Our biggest questions were, will Suni add bars? She did not. She did it in podium training, but wasn't ready for full routines. So that's going to be something we're continuing to watch. Will Shilese get back to second all-around? Yes, she did. Will she do her upgrades? Not the ones we were talking about. She did other additions and changes to her routines, but she did not add the Stalder Nabieva or her full-in beam dismount. The question then is, after this great meet, should she even bother?
Yeah. I mean,
you think she's still, you're still in category yes?
Yes. I mean, if you can do it consistently, why not like just slam everybody over the head with your giant D? You know what I mean?
I feel like if she could do it consistently, it would have been in the routine.
Yeah, but I know she's still a little behind in her where, so, and you never know with her because like she can do everything and she's so talented. Like on beam, like if she adds her layout after her aerial, there's her bigger D on beam. Like I love a big D option if it's consistent because it's going to be beautiful. You're welcome.
Yeah. Yes. I feel like it was like on bars was so comfortable here. Like it wasn't even like last year, and we weren't actually at a great angle to evaluate this, so maybe people will tell me otherwise, but her dismount on beam or on bars last year, where every time we were like, is she going to land half on the mat and half off and like have a weird landing or something? And I was not concerned about her dismount. It was just so on that I almost don't want to, like, don't do anything. Don't touch it. Don't make any changes until event finals at Worlds, then go to town. That's what I want. I want this exact routine through like qualification, team competition, all around, and then Stalder Nabieva in the event final and just be like, oh, this old thing.
And,
the key for
we
me.
have seen her do a half out of that double front dismount. So you never know if she's just going to be like, I'm feeling good today. I warmed this up. I hit it. I'm going to yeah. I mean, that's the thing. 3 more weeks. I mean, some people like to have it locked in, but I think Shilese is someone who has a lot of options, but you never know. Also, I wanted to mention, very specific to the competition, since we're reviewing our preview, the 2008 Olympic teams were acknowledged here, including their traveling
15-year
alternates.
anniversary.
Yeah, not all the alternates, but the traveling alternates.
The alternates who were also just here anyway, because Ivana Hong was there for the 2008 team, but none of the other alternates.
None of the other ones. Nope, no one else.
If you're here anyway,
then you might as well come up.
Yeah.
Also wearing the most San Francisco Silicon Valley outfit compared to everybody else I loved. Is very hipster. She was representing for the Bay Area.
Yeah. The world of the gymternet was not breaking any sexist tropes because everything was like analysis of the clothes that the women's team wore.
Oh, yeah.
What did you think of Nastia?
So their team acknowledgement, I don't know if you guys noticed, but basically Alicia Sacramone could not stop laughing and was laughing so hard. And so, and I think she was laughing at Sam. So our interpretation of what happened is, as if you follow Sam Pesek, you know that Sam Pesek would not told ahead of time that she didn't have to wear a polo. Thank God the polo days are over for NBC. My God. Not only did they show more gymnastics on day 2, like I swear on day 2, it was like, wait, what are these notes that all the fans and other people in the broadcast have been telling us would improve our broadcast significantly? Show the gymnastics? Oh, less people sitting around doing nothing? Actual gymnastics? That never occurred to us. It was like, oh my God, it was routine after routine after routine after routine of playback, like nonstop gymnastics. I was shocked. I was like, what? Is this a college broadcast? What's happening right now? Oh my God, I was so excited. Like wildly, spectacularly better in terms of the gymnastics they showed. So, but here's the thing. She didn't get advance notice about outfits. So she had to run out to the store and buy some outfits. So here's what I think. I think Alicia was laughing because everyone else, put their arm up and did their salute, their salute wave in the crowd. But I think Sam either couldn't raise her arms in her last minute outfit because she had to have dinosaur arms for her wave, like that dinosaur in Toy Story. Hello. Or I think that if she raised her arms...
I love that your dinosaur reference is the dinosaur in Toy
Story, not real dinosaurs. Or that if she did raise her arms, it would be full, underpants on display. So she had to basically keep her arms by her side and wave that way. And Alicia thought that was hilarious and couldn't stop laughing about her outfit that she couldn't put her arms up in. So, I mean, what I'm saying is the 2008 team was 100% on brand. And also, Fact Checker pointed this out because he's also our wonderful, amazing photographer. If you haven't seen what we put up on Instagram and the other socials, and of course, under the championships headquarters, you can look at all of the photo galleries. But he mentioned, looking through the lens, taking pictures of podium, they had, the 2008 teams handing out awards, and Shawn Johnson had everyone cracking up. Like everyone that she gave an award to, they were laughing and laughing. So I don't know what she said. We're going to have to get to the bottom of this, but I love that she, it was a different world of the 2008 team bringing their constant hilarious crack ups to the world. Okay. So other things that we talked about in our preview of championships is who was going to win the War of the Generations, which, shout out to our listener who's listening to that episode in the car with her dad and the whole family. And her dad suggested teens versus queens, which is awesome.
We love a rhyme. We love a rhyming title.
We love a rhyme. Bonus points for dad. You did it. Shout out to you. We're calling it that from now on. So who won the War of the Teens versus Queens?
It's hard to say because I think we have counter argument. They've no one won the war. They've entered a period of détente. We have no clear winner in this war because the queens won the all-around standings. As we established, they're much older than the men's all-around podium. That was all the queens. But Sky Blakely had a fantastic competition. She's just not quite ready on floor yet and fell on the second day. Similar to Kalia Lincoln on bars. I'm like, yeah, that routine took you down the all-around standings, but also that's not why you're on a highest scoring team anyway, so whatever. You'll be fine. She had a great competition in terms of is Sky Blakely supplanting some of the Queens category gymnasts who have been all-around contributors on teams. Check mark to Sky Blakely, but also check mark to Leanne Wong, because they both did that. And then Battle Chung, which we were talking about, between Joss Robertson and Jade Carey, not also between Simone. Obviously, Simone won Battle Chung, but between Joss Robertson and Jade Carey, Robertson won day two, the 2-day Chung battle, because hers was stronger on the first day, and they were basically, I think they scored exactly the same on the second day, and they were very similar. So that's a couple categories where the teens won. And in terms of who makes up the highest scoring team, after nationals, you have Simone and Shilese from Team Queens, but you have Sky Blakely, Kalia Lincoln, and Joss Robertson from Team Teens. So that's the teens argument. That's why I don't know. I don't have a winner. It's almost like this was a totally artificial battle that I came up with and doesn't have any actual bearings on anything. Or something. Just spitballing here, not clear.
Or it's like a tie, which you unintentionally created just because you love making me happy. Thanks, Spencer. Okay. Let's talk about our other preview. We talked about Jordan Childs and if she was going to make the top 3 and be kind of, I mean, we kind of think top 3 is sort of our automaticers. Automatic invitations to trials was the top 2, and then basically whoever you want. But
right. Top 3 for teams is what we're talking about. Jordan Childs wasn't in that category. Leanne Wong was in that category in terms of the all-around, even though she wasn't on events. And that was one of the interesting things, because we talked about whether we thought Leanne Wong needed to add difficulty to be in the world's team mix. The only place where she added was beam, and she added combinations, which did put her closer to the high. Like, beam is the one where she's making that argument, even though you potentially have Simone Biles, Shilese Jones, who got a 14-3 on the second day, Sky Blakely. Beam was a big improvement and was the most dramatic change and from classic. So, but at the same time, so she did add difficulty in that regard, but at the same time, I think she proved she doesn't super need to on bars and floor if her all-around results are like this. If she's getting 14-0, like she did on bars both day and floor the second day.
So as of right now, if you had to decide today, who's on your world team?
You know that I make this question very easy for me because I am team highest scoring team. So Simone Biles, Shilese Jones, Sky Blakely, Kalia Lincoln, Joss Robertson, Leanne Wong is traveling alternate. And I know that's very controversial, and I would not begrudge a team with Leanne Wong on it right now because she's wonderful and finished 3rd all around, but that wouldn't be the highest scoring team. So that's, I would say, traveling alternate, ready to step in. And then, of course, you see how things go in training at Worlds. But yeah, that's my team. What's yours?
Mine is Simone, Shy, Leanne, Sky Blakely, Kalia Lincoln, and then I'm going to take 2 alternates, which is going to be Caitlin Jong.
You have to pick one traveling alternate.
No, that's dumb. There's plenty of money to take 2, so I'm going to take both. I'm going to take Caitlin Jong as my everything alternate, and then I'm going to take Joss Robertson as my legs alternate. If you need legs, if someone with legs needs to be replaced, Joss Robertson.
Okay, who are your 5 before your alternates?
Simone, Shy, Leanne, Sky, and Kalia Lincoln.
And Kalia.
Do we have the same? No,
I have Joss Robertson to do
scoring.
the Chung, and Leanne as the traveling alternate. I'm going to say you have Leanne on the team and Joss Robertson as the traveling alternate, and Caitlin Jong as the non-traveling alternate, because you do only get one.
Yeah,
so I'm going to impose some rules on you.
I would probably take Joss because as the traveling alternate in that scenario, because you can put her in everything but bars. So that would work.
Yeah.
But also, the highest scoring team is the team you should take. The highest scoring 3-up 3 count team is the team you should take.
Which is what we're saying. Yes.
Right.
Not highest scoring qualification team, because you're going to qualify.
Yeah.
The U.S. doesn't have to. Other teams have to take that into account and should pick their teams based on qualification. The U.S. women should not.
Right. Okay, so But all that could change because
We still have a whole
3
selection
weeks.
camp.
Yeah.
Long time.
World
Ages.
Team Trials. My God, Spencer.
If you don't want to bother with the whole joining Club Gym Nerd thing, you can just give us money. Check out the no strings attached donate button at the bottom of the Join the Club page at gymcastic.com/club.
Okay, let's talk about the men's competition a little bit.
I would love to.
Where teens beat the queens is essentially what happened.
Yeah, teens beat the queens in the men's all-around competition because Asher Hong took the all-around title with the all-around title with bonus. Because they do have bonus again this year. It's less than the bonus last year, so I have fewer heart palpitations, but still some, because you have kind of an official winner and then a real winner, and that makes me uncomfortable because the real winner was Colt Walker because he had the highest all-around score using the FIG rules without bonus.
So here's the thing. Everyone knew how the all-around how people were going to be scored with the D bonus ahead of time. So it's not like these are surprise rules. So everyone knew this. This is what they did last year. But clarify the way the team was selected by the world's team versus who got the highest scores with the bonus at championships is different. Can you talk about that?
Correct. They were very clear in how they were selecting the team that the non-bonus scores is what they were using to select the Worlds team, which is what they should do because that's the rules at Worlds. You shouldn't select a team for Worlds based on the rules they're not using. That would be like scoring the women's nationals with the JO code of points to take a team to nationals to score with elite. That's a far more extreme example. Obviously, you don't use rules they're not using at the competition to select a team for that competition. So yes, they used the non-bonus. They selected a Worlds team that was the highest scoring team from across the 2 days of competition combined, which was Asher Hong, Fred Richard, Koi Young, Paul Judah, and Yul Moldauer, and then Colt Walker, even though he won the all-around title without bonus, is the traveling alternate.
Yes. Asher Hong with the Risei Wong, who we've been talking about since he was 11, because he's like prodigy level good, and now is at Stanford. Paul Judah, who sacrificed himself on the Brazilian sandbag vault to qualify,
not to make it over dramatic or anything,
to help qualify a spot to the Olympics. And then we have, who else is on the team again?
Fred Richard, who
Fred flips with all the TikTok followers and who wants to make he hit my bio on GymCastic and his bio are basically the same. I want to make gymnastics as popular as the NFL. That's the same goal that Fred Richard has. So we are equal in that. And
also you're both have the same D score on high bar.
Yes. Oh my God, I'm so glad you recognize that.
Yeah. It fits.
National champion on high bar, same. Exactly. Because I don't have a fear of heights or flipping backwards. It's fine. And then Koi Young, who wants to be a designer but should go into politics because he's just like such a advanced human being. Like when I'm like, oh, this is the people that get into Stanford. It's you. This is like, you're so mature beyond your years. It's ridiculous. He made the team with his like quiet consistency, smacking you in the face with all of his stuck landings on everything. Men's gymnastics stuck landings. So
we haven't mentioned Yul Moldauer, who took us through such a journey on the second day of this competition, because for a long time it looked like, oh, he's going to win the all-around, at least the bonus all-around, which is kind of unusual for Yul because the bonus system doesn't necessarily benefit him because he doesn't have the super high D scores. He's going for E, as we've known for years and years and years. He has gym nerd gymnastics, where it's just beautiful. And it's kind of, I was noticing this at this competition because Yul always wants to get like the crowd pumped after he has a really good routine. Like he wants to lift them up. And I'm like, the problem with that is that Yul has gymnastics that appeal to like me, because you're like, you're like a total gym nerd where you're like, that's how legs should be. That's the line. That's the toe point. That's exactly what I want to see. Like the people who love Yule's gymnastics the most are the ones who are golf clapping the competition, not the ones who are like screaming and yelling. And he always wants the screaming and yelling.
He does.
But yeah, he was leading the bonus stands for a while and then had 2 falls right toward the end of the competition. And it went within 2 routines from he's going to win to are they going to put him on the team? Because as I was talking about this with Kensley after the competition ended, before they named the team, and we were saying, I think the question is going to be between Yule Moldauer and Colt Walker for the final spot on that team, which ended up being Yule Moldauer, but it was suddenly way of a closer shave than it looked like through most of that competition. But I do think he fits. He fits with what that team needs.
My biggest problem with the team, of course, is it's the highest scoring team and not, it should just be all the event champions. Everybody knows that.
No,
so it should
no
be
one knows that.
Nedarashik and Wittenberg. And yeah, that's how I would pick the team. But they at first weren't even on the national team. Now they've been added, except for 2 vault home slice. Why am I forgetting?
Cameron Nelson was the only.
Cameron Nelson.
We had an only one who did 2 vaults situation in the men's competition.
Yeah, so that's the only person that isn't on national team, but all the event winners are now on national team. But yeah, obviously you should go
not
for
on the
good
world's
questions.
team. It's a very
that's the
all-around
thing.
world's team.
It's so
Do you think it's
all
because
around.
they're like they feel like, oh, we went with Nedarashik last year and then he got a 12 on Pommel Horse in the team final, and they're like, we're not doing that anymore, or is it just because it's the highest scoring team and that's what they're going to do?
I can't remember. Are the men qualified for the Olympics yet?
No, but
So
that should not be a question. Like they should qualify so easily. Like they could have a classic U.S. men's gymnastics meltdown in qualification, and they will still qualify a team for the Olympics.
I would, in this scenario, I would go with the men with making sure like a guarantee qualification, which should be easy, but it's men's gymnastics. Like it wouldn't
Even
surprise
men's
me.
gymnastics is not that men's gymnastics.
It is that men's gymnastics. It wouldn't surprise me if someone recreated that American anthem and flew off high bar and landed on the judges' table and like broke a judge's nose. Like that's how men's gymnastics is. Also, we're still waiting to see if Bart Joulot makes the Netherlands team. There's still a chance. And also, Danelle Leva surprised us at the live show and answered a question about Bart Joulot, which I was very happy about because, of course, there was a question about Amy training Bart Joulot. So, yeah, Danelle Leva had some very interesting input.
Another highlight from the men's competition for me, I think my big highlight routine was Paul Judah's day 2 floor routine. That was one of the most delightful and triumphant moments and a huge execution score. I love that he won the national floor title with a 5.5 D score. Just to be like, you can keep your 6s. I'm going to hit an extremely clean routine. And like Koi Young, also throughout the competition, he has some events where he has huge difficulty, like vault. That's going to be a huge benefit. He also has a number of events where it's not because it's the highest D score. It's because it's clean.
Yes.
And that also was rewarded enough. And
Yes.
we've seen years in the past in men's gymnastics where it feels like that's not rewarded enough. And the bonus system can kind of exacerbate that, where you're like, well, this is insane looking, but everyone just got the same execution score. So that was nice to see. I really enjoyed watching Paul Judah. I was worried about how the competition was going to go because high bar is so important for him. It's like the U.S. team for high bar is like, they have Fred Richard, who has a great high bar, and then there's Paul Judah, and then there's because Brody Malone's injured. Like, they need Paul Judah's high bar, and then right at the beginning of the first day, he fell on high bar, and I was like, uh-oh. But, pulled it together nonetheless with a great hit on day 2 and great floor throughout. So that was very exciting.
Also, I want to mention Paul Judah sacrificing himself on the sandbag vault altar of Brazil. That is from the Olympic qualification where they did not have the vault bolted down and it kept moving literally like it was going to fall over because vault. And so they had to put sandbags on it. And that is where Paul Judah helped qualify a spot. So that is what I'm referring to. If because there's a lot of new people around this time. Speaking of new people, it's time for us to start our 4-year headline segment again that we do before the Olympics. Oh my God. 2 media outlets said that Jade Carey failed to qualify for the Paris Olympics because of how she did
Oh
at
my
championships.
god.
It is so embarrassing. What?
Do these people have Google?
No, apparently they do not
It hasn't
have
made
it.
it to them?
Oh, it's
No, this has zero bearings on Paris. Nothing that
Yes.
happened in this competition influences the Paris Olympics in any way.
Okay. So, all right, have we covered everything with men's? Oh, no. We haven't.
Right. We have a scandal that we talked about a little bit behind the scenes, but also this U.S. men's team should win a team medal at Worlds. That's what I'm looking at here. And I feel like the question is always, can this team win a medal? And that should not be just a hope for this team. That should be their expectation going in. Russia is not there as a team. That is that's like a gift beyond gifts bestowed on the US men in their medal hopes that they were not able to take advantage of last year at Worlds when it was the same thing. Great Britain, the men had their trial as well. The team score for their named team at their trial was significantly lower than the team score for the US team that was named at championships. And now, yes, different competitions, different judging, all of that taken into account, but it was quite a bit lower. The US should look at that and say, we can outscore the Great Britain team, and China is not sending their top team to Worlds. Now, the caveat there is still an amazing team because China's super deep and could send, all sorts of different people to all sorts of meets. So it's still an excellent Chinese team. But Zhang Boheng is not going to Worlds this year. And that's a huge change for China's team. It's almost like what happened at the Olympics when they didn't name him, even though he earned it with his scores. And
Also-
they should regret that forever.
And Spencer's never going to let him forget it. Also,
never going to let them forget it ever.
You have to look at Italy and Turkey and how they're coming up too.
Mhm.
Like there's a lot of teams that are doing really well. So we can't forget them. Okay.
But it is like, I think they should set a realistic marker that is not just like the dream, wouldn't it be nice? But like you have the gymnastics, you have the D scores to expect to win a medal at Worlds.
So the scandal that happened, and you watch other sports, but I don't. Have you ever seen a judge or a referee, same thing, removed from the field of play during a competition, especially like a national championship? Like, has that happened in the NFL or the tennis or the...
I love that you think that I watch the NFL, but
the WNBA or the soccer?
There have been officials removed for mistakes after, but not in the middle of, not during.
Right. So during the men's competition on day 1, there was a men's floor timer who's a category 2 judge, which is the highest you can get. And then there's 2 spots reserved that are category 1 judges, and those are the ones that can go to the Olympics. So this is the highest rated with a lot of experience, who was removed for mistiming floor, which is so weird because timing is like the easiest job of judging, besides out of bounds, which there were also out of bounds mistakes made because there were judges. The judges who
women's out of bounds is apparently really hard. It's so hard to put up that flag.
But they were out of bounds.
I can't lift. It's too hard. No, I can't call out of bounds.
But there were judges who were practice judging while they were supposed to be lifting the out of bounds flag. And if you're practice judge, that means you have to look down. And the only thing you can't do when you're judging out of bounds is you can't look down ever or away from the floor the whole time. And there were out of bounds that were raised late, like after the gymnast was already off to the next corner, did a whole nother tumbling pass. So there's a lot of issues with the men's judging, but this is so weird. And the timing on floor has changed. So the men have more time on floor now. So it's unclear exactly what happened. I asked USA Gymnastics for a comment on this. I haven't heard anything back yet. I will follow up. But it's a really unusual situation. And at this level, this should be the very best judges. But as we know in men's, these are not the best judges. There are 11 category 3 judges who weren't even here judging, but there are lower level judges, category 4, who were judging, and this is an ongoing problem in men's gymnastics. They just don't have the best judges judging, which, in turn, everybody works together, right? It should be the judges are there to take the deductions that you're going to have the same kind of judging you're going to get at Worlds, right? So everybody needs to be on the same page and be giving the gymnasts the fair judging. And that's what we did not get. So hopefully there will be a change to that, but it is very strange, unusual situation. And we'll follow up on that for you guys. Let's talk about some gymternet news. The biggest story that's happening right now, and this happened during the last day. This news came out from Desert News the day that championships ended. So Tom Farden, who's been the head coach at Utah for a few years now, took over for the Marsdens. He is under investigation by the university. So by the Desert News reports that he is under investigation for verbal degradation and public shaming, where he would single out and demean gymnasts, both in practices and meets, demoralizing athletes and causing feelings of worthlessness. That he created an environment where gymnasts, including those under 18, were isolated from family and pressured to refrain from any communication outside of the program. That he showed a lack of concern or interest in gymnasts' physical and emotional well-being, be it after serious injury, illness, or emotional and mental issues, and that he created an environment that rewards and encourages gymnasts to report on their teammates' lives outside of the sport. There should be a lot of other coaches added into that right there as well. Also physical intimidation, including throwing objects in the gym, including a phone and a bar scraper, which those are both things that could actually hurt you. It's not like a chancla. Handling, not that I'm saying you should throw, your shoes at people either, but things that could actually do damage. Forcefully handling equipment and making some gymnasts feel generally unsafe. So several Utah gymnasts have come forward and said that they support Tom Farden, that they had a good experience. They also specifically said they're not discounting other people's experience, but their experiences were very positive and they did not have this same experience. But some of the gymnasts who brought the complaints, 2 of them had to be under psychiatric care. That's how serious it got. There are also parents involved in the reporting of the abuse and 2 former coaching staff. So the University of Utah has now engaged an outside firm to do an investigation. So that's happening right now. The Marsdens also expressed their support for Tom Farden. In other news, Utah related, they revealed their new gymnastics facility, a process that took 8 years.
They're like, look over here.
Right. They're like, hey.
Yeah.
Quick before the story comes out. Also, I don't understand what's different about the gym. It looks exactly the same. It just looks like they got bigger locker room and I didn't understand. I thought the gym would be different, but it seems to be everything except the actual gym. But I might be wrong about that. I kept trying to find a video that showed how the gymnastics actual facility was different. Seems like they have a bigger couch and study room and, fancier locker room and stuff like that. But I would be very glad to be wrong because I love, I want to geek out over gymnastics palaces and how, you have a different landing surface for every apparatus. That's one of my favorite things. Defending world bars and beam champions are out. Spencer, explain this.
Wei Xiaoyan, 2-time defending bars champion, was not named to the Chinese Worlds team or Asian Games team or anything. They were just goodbye forever. She was on the University Games team and really struggled. And then they announced the teams, no Wei Xiaoyan, so no chance to defend her World Bars title, and Watanabe Hazuki on the Japanese team won the World's Bars title last year. She was named to the team. She qualified to the team this year. Knee injury, had to withdraw very recently. So bad. And now, what if Jade Carey doesn't make the U.S. team? Defending vault champion isn't there. Jessica Gadarova is going to be the only event champion coming back, presumably. Great Britain hasn't named their team, but, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's going to happen. Indiana. Back to our discussion about Lely and USA Gymnastics and where they're going to put their wellness training center. Indiana has been like, hey, we would love to be the state that you choose to spend all this money for your training center. They quote, we are going to be identifying finalist cities probably next year, which will then move on to the next round, said Lely. So reportedly there's 12-ish cities who are currently interested in this. So the requirements that USA Gymnastics released are that it needs to be a state-of-the-art training facility, space for medical support services, strength and conditioning areas, catering services, lecture hall and meeting spaces, near a competition venue with a 3,000 person capacity, which would be great if they actually had, like we talked about, USA Gymnastics was like, hey, International Elite Committee for women, would you like to have the World Team Trials in an actual arena? And they were like, no, health and safety of the athletes, we're not going to do it. Which they are letting the athletes land on non-competitive surfaces for vault at World Team Trials. So I think it makes sense when they're like, no, we don't want anybody to like take pounding landings if they don't need to. But you can also, you can put a resi into a vault surface. I'm just saying that's possible with a podium. I mean, you have to cut a hole in the podium, but it can be done. Spieth can do it. Give it to Matt. He can handle it. It also has to have lodging on site or within walking distance, and a new Hall of Fame / museum. So it sounds like they want to make this like the OTC is, where you can it can have visitors, which I think is a smart revenue model. And they can people can take pictures and they can sell stuff. But I'm not going to spend my money in Indiana until they change their constitution. So this is the thing. And Indiana was also the first state to overturn Roe. I mean, they were like right in line for like women's health care. We don't care about that. So hopefully USAG will not have Indiana be the place where their training center is. But again, they didn't say there were no non-negotiables. So here you go. President Biden congratulated Simone Biles. He said, when we see Simone compete, we are witnessing unmatched power and grace. Not only is this first in history to hold all 8 U.S. Gymnastics titles, but she's a trailblazer who spoke up for those who couldn't speak for themselves. You represent the best of America. She's holding all 8 of them.
She holds all 8 U.S.
All 8
titles?
Yeah. There's only been 8, and she holds them.
There's 8. She won all 8 this weekend. Yeah. She won all 8 of the titles. What do you think Joe Biden thinks the 8 women's apparatuses are? Trains is one of them. Amtrak's one of the apparatuses.
Amtrak's the best
Train
one.
bouncing. Ice cream is definitely one of them.
Ice cream. Beach is the other one. Big fan of the beach.
And then vault bars, beam floor, all around.
Yes.
Trains, ice cream, beach.
Yeah. Those are
that's Biden-nastics, yeah.
Ian Gunther, you remember we talked about him in the preview because he's doing the counter Kim, and he eventually wants to do it piked and get it named after him. So he said that he has used social media to pay off his college tuition, which is amazing. Because, there's like barely any scholarships for men. And then a lot of them just have, except for Stanford, because they're smart and had a lot of, they're using all the law to their advantage. But yeah, it's great that there's this avenue for, and
also,
his
Ian Gunther goes to Stanford, but
yeah. But a lot of them can't get their full tuition covered unless you get there's a lot of things. But anyway, he did that. So that's great. Men's Pan Am team was named at the same time the men's world team was named. So Cameron Bach, Steven Nedorashik, former world champion on pommel horse. I guess you're always a world champion. He was
really, Jessica.
2021 world champion on pommel horse. Colt Walker, who was by the FIG scores all-around champion at championships. Donnell Wittenberg, Shane Wiskus. Individual qualifier is Petroson, and the non-traveling alternates are Riley, Luce, and Curran Phillips.
I kind of love this men's Pan Am's team, by the way.
I know team's gonna be really freaking exciting. That's the thing. I'm like, damn, there's really good gymnasts on this, and they're all like, it's a super specialist, badass team. Also, so Andrade, we talked about this a little bit last week. So she competed at Brazilian Championships. She didn't do all around. She didn't do floor, just like 2021 Worlds. Jade Barbosa, Jaji Barbosa. Won the all around at age.
This is beautiful.
She's 33, 34. How old is Jaji? You guys, this is so freaking amazing. I mean, I remember her 2011 Worlds. Like, she's been around forever, and now she's
2011, 2007.
2007. Well, I mean, that's why I remember her. She's 32, but I really remember her at that Worlds because she looks so miserable. But yeah,
good. That's your that's your memory.
She won at age 32. Adult gymnastics, everybody. It's like you can do things smarter and more efficiently and take care of yourself, and being older can help you with that. I love this for her.
Yeah, so we should mention Andrade Flavia did not do the all around, but still.
Lima won vault.
Yeah.
Like Simone, Andrade didn't do a second vault, so that's why you didn't see her in there. But it's so exciting. Very excited about this. So remember that you can still buy tickets to watch the replay of the live show. If you need any help with that, customer service at gymcastic.com. We have a headquarters where you can find all of the photo galleries, videos, podcasts, everything from from championships. All right, I'm thinking about Belgium. I'm done. I'm already in Belgium. But about championships at the on gymcastic.com at the headquarters. There's a nice big graphic for it. And we will see you guys this behind the scenes Friday at noon Pacific, where hopefully we're going to get the answers questions we didn't get to for Amy Borman at the live show. And we can talk some more about behind the scenes things, stories we haven't told from the live show, and also from the Hall of Fame, some things that happen at the Hall of Fame ceremony because press weren't allowed to go. Because why would you ever want press to cover your Hall of Fame? Thank God the NFL and the NBA don't do that. Whew, good things those are secret. And thank you to all of our new Club Gym Nerd members, because you guys are the reason that we can afford to go to Belgium late in September, end of September, and do all of this and give you all these behind the scenes extra podcasts during the World Championship. So we really appreciate you guys. And remember, you have years and years of exclusive backlog of exclusive interviews and behind the scenes that you can go back and listen to and enjoy now that you're members. It's all up at gymcastic.com, or you can find it in your own personal feed that you have to listen to the podcast. You don't have to go on the website. You can put them all in whatever podcast player you like to listen to. New power ranking will be up after championships. We'll see you on Friday at noon Pacific, where you can ask us questions live. And until then, please remember, take off on gay, split on rights. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on Friday. Check it out on the sales tab on their website. Check it out on the sales.
We haven't even gone on vacation yet.
I know.